Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Comic Chronicle podcast. I'm your guys' host, Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Today on the show, we have Atagun, Ilhan, and boy, oh boy, it is a wonderful episode. And this is also the first episode of 2023. Things have been a little bit crazy on my side of things here with work, the animal crime / ambulance job, volunteering at the zoo now, also still at the sanctuary. On top of this, life things in general, it has been very difficult going to therapy, which I do recommend, and getting better. So the Comic Chronicle podcast is back. We're back in action here. We're going to be doing more interviews for you guys. We're going to be doing reviews. We're going to be doing the news. We're going to be covering it all here on the podcast. But the first episode is back, and Atagun and I talk about his work on DC's Poison Ivy, and then also, working on some other projects as well, to say the least, and talking about Turkey, because he's from Turkey, and he's currently in there right now when we were talking. So we were talking about the current state of his country and things that you probably don't know about, to say the least. So if you guys learned a little bit from this episode, if you guys liked it, make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts, whatever it might be. You can follow me on social media too, at Dakota Morgan 3 on Twitter, Instagram at Dakota_Morgan97. And if you want to follow me live, raw and uncut, when I do video game playthroughs, Twitch, KodaRex97. And of course, guys, I do gotta say, it helps us out greatly when you leave a review on the podcast and share it to others. The Comic Chronicle podcast. I'm doing the show now for almost 5 fucking years. So it's fantastic to be back too. So if you guys enjoyed it, like I said, subscribe wherever you can. And without me rambling on for any more, let's dive into my talk with Atagun. Now, I do got to say, too, this is a laid-back show, so you can say whatever, talk about whatever. This is definitely a show where anything goes, they say.
Sweet. Joe Rogan style.
Kind of. Kind of. Less controversial. I haven't said anything that bad yet, to say the least here. I haven't started it, at least, at all. I mean, I'm a man of science, so there's that, but... Yes. Thank you for joining me on the show here. Like, you were really adamant in coming on. Honestly, too, I mean, I've done the show for like 4 or 5 years now. Oh, God, that's a long time. But you are the first guest of the year, so that's kind of fun, too.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's my first doing something like this.
Hey. Well, you know what? I'm happy to have you on board. I mean, you definitely are taking the time out coming at 7 o'clock at night there. I mean, if you would believe it or not, I've talked to people in France, and I've had to, due to time changes and whatnot, I had to do an interview once at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was
brutal.
Yeah, waking up, I'm like, but
that's the dedication right there.
A little bit. Yeah, but so we got to say, you've recently been doing some work on DC, so that's why I reached out to you, and I was like, this guy's artwork is beautiful, to say the least here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, probably you've seen my Poison Ivy issue 7 and 8 work, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And also, my girlfriend, she was very excited to hear that I was having you on. She's like, you're having him? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, tell him he's awesome. Yeah, she loves your work. She introduced me, actually.
Really?
Yeah, she was the one, because I read so many comics, DC, Marvel, indie books, even my own books that I write. And so, I read a lot, and sometimes I miss some things. And she's like, you know how you like Poison Ivy? I'm like, yeah. She's like, look at this artwork, look at the storytelling here, and she turned me on to it, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's like I'm hearing this like pretty new of like feedback from other people, from readers and audience.
Yeah,
it's something new for me. That's actually my first, my inaugural for the DC Comics debut.
Oh, really? That's a big win for your first.
Oh, yeah. I was so prepared before,
Yeah.
I was ready. I just needed that little push. And thanks to DC, they just gave me one of the great super villains in the DC universe.
Yeah. And I mean, you could tell that you were prepared because your art, because I went through and looked at your artwork too, your non-superhero stuff, and just wonderful stuff. Absolutely, you take a look at it and you're just like, the work there is definitely something pretty wonderful, pretty beautiful stuff. So that's why, you saying you're prepared, I've never heard anybody ever say. Hell, I wasn't even prepared when I got hired on for a comic company a couple years ago to be a writer. There's no way in hell, but you were really prepared for it?
Oh, yeah, I was. Actually, before, so I got this, I broke into the comics industry through this milestone, DC's milestone
Oh
initiative
yeah,
program.
yeah.
And if it wasn't for that, I probably would have quit it already because
Yeah.
I was came to a point that, it turned like some sort of predicament for me. What should I do now? Because since I'm putting a lot of work and not seeing myself where I'm supposed to be. So I was about to quit, not quit, but like switch a little bit to illustration book covers, which I also do.
Mhm.
Um, so that program actually was a like a watershed in my career for sure.
Wow. Shit.
Uh,
Like wow. Would not have expected that. Like I mean, you were a fan of comics beforehand, I'm guessing? Like you're really looking into it and like, hey, I love comics. Like I want to do this one day.
yeah, man. So my parents are both artists. So Apple doesn't fall
Shit.
far from the tree, right?
Yeah, look
Um,
at that.
and I've been drawing since I was 2 years old or something. So my upbringing was all the time was around artists, contemporary artists, painters, and graphic designers, things of that nature. And then I got into this animation department, and then illustration. I'm doing masters in illustration at Syracuse University right now.
Ooh.
So, but my first experience with comics was my dad, of course, brought me a comics. In Turkey, we don't have many comic shops. We only have a handful. And my dad brought me some Mr. No, like a cowboy comics,
Oh
those
yeah, I vaguely heard
press,
about that one. Yeah.
yeah, black and white.
Yeah, yeah.
That hooked me immediately because one thing I love drawing black and white, but also I love storytelling. So comics was a great combination of both. So ever since I was like 12, 13, something like that, um, I've wanted to draw comics professionally. And through animation department, we also had comics classes. So I did a lot of comics there, and then yeah, it worked from there basically.
Wow. Wow, yeah, you definitely were coming into it. I mean, shit, you're with parents being an artist, like there was a 50-50 shot that you were just going to get big in the sports or be an artist.
Maybe big in the sports. I wasn't so talented, but yeah, I play basketball here and there a little bit.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Like, boy, come. I mean, that's honestly, it's kind of a rare thing to hear about because, I mean, shit. Like I said, you don't really hear too many people that are like ready to go into it. Like, I want to try this out, but I do gotta agree with you. Black and white comics, there is something with it that boy, they look. It feels so good. Like, I love inkers. Don't get me wrong. They most impossible job I've ever seen, but being able to read a black and white comic, there's something special about that. I don't know what it is.
Black and white is such a challenge for an artist, for
Really?
interior artist. Yes, because if there's any mistake, even in the background, it will show up easily. So you have to be really smooth and really precise with how you land things on a page. And
Mm.
storytelling, of course, it shows itself pretty quickly like this. In color, colors can like cover up your little mistakes here and there. But in black and white, you have to show your like first your ink work, your brush work, and then you have to separate, like you have to create this depth only through black and white, because when
Mm.
colors takes over, he can, for instance, like dilute the background a little bit to create this sense of depth. So you don't have
Mhm.
any of those like that. So you have to be, really great at storytelling, and of course, facial features has to be on par. Because like if there's any like for instance, eye a little bit off to the right or down or anything like that, it shows itself so fast. And
Shit, I didn't think
readers
about that.
get it so fast too. Right?
Wow, I didn't think about that. That that adds a whole new level to it. Wow.
Yeah.
The last
You
black and
should
white
have,
book.
you should have seen my first run. I drew supernatural natural Western story, six issues called Greenwood Crossing. We published
Oh,
on
that sounds
Star.
amazing.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that
oh
was
no.
first comic, so you fair warning. Um, and 6 issues, I drawn 6 issues in a year or so. So my art style has progressed exponentially there. So you can tell huge difference in every issue. But that was such a challenge for me, and I'm sure it elevated me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I bet being your first one. I mean, who was that for? Was that just for you did it yourself, sort of thing? Who was it for?
I was so while I was in undergrad, I was looking also for job to start like get into this professional comic industry, and I found one writer found me on DeviantArt, and then we started from there. We did first issue together, and the best way to publish and make a living out of it was to self-publishing via Kickstarter.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
successfully kickstarted that, and then we started to grow some audience. They followed us through each issue. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, that had to be a cool thing for you because you mentioned like how a Western comic got you into it. So you got to work on a supernatural Western comic. That had to be something special.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that
it
had to
was
be. You're like, yes.
that's what I exactly wanted. Thank you. Yes, I
Yeah.
accept $40 per page. Sure, why not?
No problem. This is no
No
problem at all.
problem.
Oh boy, that was when I started doing my books here for a company that we're currently in the works of doing some fun stuff. We put out some books on social media back about a year ago, and we wanted to get the audience growing and shit like that too, and we did. And to doing, and now we're got a big bunch of big things coming up, but I can't say anything more, even though I want to. But
Oh,
the thing about it being like I worked on a dinosaur, and this book has been online. People have seen pictures of a dinosaur themed book, and that was like my go-to thing. I was like, oh my lord! I mean, dinosaurs got me into like nerddom and stuff. Now I get to write a book about them. Like, this is fantastic.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
What
and
is it? Which publisher is?
SGGS Comics. It's a newer indie publisher, so they're doing some things a little slower, but there's a lot of new things. So keep an eye out for that company this year because I think you're gonna like it.
Sure, of course. I'll be at New York Comic Con and maybe Baltimore Comic Con.
Oh,
Maybe I'll see their table there. Why?
you might. There's some rumor things. I wish buddy, I wish I could say I can't. I'm not allowed. It's that.
I know
Oh,
NDAs always get
oh
us.
yeah, yeah. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. NDAs. Like, I thought when I worked in the film industry for years, I had so many NDAs too, and I couldn't ever say anything. I couldn't. I would show somebody a picture on my phone and be like, "Look at this. This is coming. Don't worry. I'm not lying." And then when I just started doing stuff in comics, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh boy, there's so many more NDAs still.
I know it's really a pain in the ass.
Uh,
By the way, have you seen forgot the name of the comics. It's published on Valiant Comics. Maybe you know the artist Luis LaRosa.
oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he actually illustrated comics about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are in it, all sorts of dinosaurs.
Hmm.
And he's like he has this hyper realistic style with doing it with only Copic markers, full grayscale, and
Oh,
it's an I think it's called Savage. You might want to check that out. Yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna put that one down. There was
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
oh, okay. I'm gonna definitely. I'm putting in my notes right now. There we go. Yeah, because I'm always down to check out new books like that. Yeah, definitely cool stuff right there. So taking a look at it too, I mean, how was it for you going on to Poison Ivy? Like, was there some fans? Because I've never worked on like a big character like that, and that character is huge right now again for the past few years. So was there like a lot of prep work you had to do? Was there like, hey, make sure she looks like this, or was there some stuff from the fans that when people found out, they were like, can you please make sure she doesn't do this or whatever the hell?
Yeah. So I got this kind of offer this past summer, and they gave me like a 2 week notice to start like for preparations and stuff because
Ooh, two
writer was
weeks.
working on script I was going to work. So I had like 2 week window to, get the character nailed down properly. So I did some, preparation, some study, the way I do things. For instance, like I hired a model, and I drew her. She has a similar physique like Poison Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Tall and you know superhero with a superhero physique. So first I got the body proportions right, and then I knew I was going to draw a lot of cargo pants because she's with.
Mm-hmm.
So I only studied cargo pants and how it's folded, in what angles, how it's moving, what's the natural flow of the drapery and all of that. And then I got to facial features. What I wanted to I wanted to bring Takara's style, his aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and add myself on top of it. So I worked on the hairstyles mostly, because I knew the what kind of face I was going to draw the moment I got the offer. It's just flashed in front of me basically. That was the easy one.
Yeah.
Then I worked on some couple hairs, and we asked some for recommendations, for opinion of my friends, artists, colleagues, and then I came to conclusion of just dropping a wisp of hair from her left side and then a ponytail, to make her more identical. And
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, I worked on a lot. And then let's see, I didn't hear anything about like backlash or anything from the readers and whatnot. So I think worked out smoothly, I will say.
Yeah. You've been saying that people have been reaching out, giving you reviews and such too. And if you haven't heard anything bad about it, I mean, then I think you're doing pretty good.
Just one website, just only one website. I don't know what's with that website, but that review website is a little off to me. It's like I could see real bad intentions, because like it's also shitting on Takara's artwork, and then
Wow.
the story, G. Willow Wilson's storyline. There's something intentional, but overall, of course, and since this first comic, I had to go through every review site.
Oh,
I had to
absolutely.
read
Yeah.
word for word.
Hey, folks, taking a quick little ad break to tell you the sponsor of this podcast is actually going to be Nature's Radio. So, Nature's Radio is a new podcast I've been doing now for a little bit of time, and it's a podcast where I talk to other people in the animal field that I work with or know, and people who I don't know. So, fun conversations there. And, of course, give you education videos every week. So, some weeks it may be education, some weeks it may be interviews of all stuff of the natural wildlife world, to domestic exotic pets, and all in between. So, if you guys enjoyed talks like that, and you enjoyed this podcast on the Comic Chronicle podcast, then let me tell you, it is a laid-back, uncensored show where anything goes as well. So if you're looking for that with a mix of animals, then check out Nature's Radio on wherever you listen to podcasts, and also Apple Podcasts and naturesradio.podbean.com. Thanks, everybody, and now back to the show. Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a curse though when you go through reviews. I will tell you that for a fact. Sometimes you go through and you're like, yes, like there's a bunch of good ones, and then you find that one mean one. You're like, oh, this is kind of sad. I don't know.
Yeah, well, made myself doubt a little bit in my art, but I knew this is the nature of doing business. There's always, you can't like please everyone. That's impossible.
Oh, in the comic industry, absolutely not. Absolutely. There's no way.
Especially in the comics industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's
like
none in that one.
They're like great established artists like Sean Murphy. I don't know, Olivia Coipel. You name it. Even them getting like shitty reviews sometimes, sitting on their art, that means like you don't have to, just take a chin, they say. Don't too much, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and you know what? Everyone's here to have fun. That's what I've
Yeah,
always said about the comic for people who are like, "Well, I don't know, this should be this way." I'm like, "Well, let it be something different because what is it? Stan Lee said it. Every comic is someone's first comic. Let them have something different. You know, they don't want to have the first comic and then they keep reading a bunch more and it's the same damn thing over and over again. Mix it up, have some fun, different artwork, different styles. Like Ivy, you've been doing has been great. You know, they have different series of books. There's comics are supposed to be for fun and be that escapism for everybody, and that's why we all love them, you know. And say what you will about the movies and such, but you know, comic books themselves have been around for since the 40s at least, and that's what they've just been. They've been an escape, and yeah,
right.
that's what I don't know. There's a lot of negative people in the comic industry now, or not in the
So
industry, but like people like fans, and I just it's kind of over it.
so so many. Some people are not susceptible for change. You know, they're
It's true.
not. They want it to be like everlasting forever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like even in the arts when an art style changes, if it's done properly, like our editor, Ariana, she's great at distributing different art styles in a storyline. For instance, what I do, for instance, I'm working on this Poison Ivy story right now. um, will be published in summer. Knights of Terrors. This is something they launched. DC launched this Knights of Terror. It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
horror themed stories, and
Yeah.
Poison Ivy is also in it. So
Ooh.
yeah, I'm doing two parts of Knights of Terror story, and it's so she falls in a dream, and I'm basically this two part is we're in Poison Ivy's nightmare, and
Oh.
my run in Poison Ivy, issue 7 and 8, was kind of a little not so connected to the main story. We introduced Janet from HR,
Hmm.
and Poison Ivy was there, and then just one villain, just only three characters. I didn't work on Harley Quinn in the main storyline like Takara did, so it was like a me working on it was like a spin-off, like little 2 episodes, like an extra episodes, like you will see in a TV series. So that works out great.
Yeah.
Because main story has this main artist. He does his own thing, and in the like in between, I I just contribute my take on the series. So I think that's how it should be done. Because sometimes like you have a bunch of different artists in one issue, and it gets so confusing. It messes up the writer's work also. Um,
Yeah.
so editors has to be really thoughtful on that, and they're doing great. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's a team that kind of goes into it too. It's a team effort, comic books. I don't think a lot of people understand it. And if longtime listeners of the show definitely should, from the people we've talked to on here, but you know, it's always a team effort. It's a team effort between editors, inkers, letterers, writers, artists. It's a teamwork to make a comic book. Even just one issue takes so much team effort to do. And I don't think people understand that these days either.
I don't think so really. Like even reading
Uh,
reviews, for instance, when they review the art, they actually reviewing the color work, or they're reviewing the ink work, for instance, if the inker was separate. So like even when I see you know um, pundits, reviewers not actually landing properly when they get to
mhm.
review comics, I can't even imagine like like a like a normal comic reader talking about stuff. So yes, people really not actually get it. Even some reviewers for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, kind of going into some positivity kind of thing there. And I do got to ask you a question here, and this might seem kind of weird, but this is a thing for people to, you know, better help them out too. Is how would you
sure.
pronounce your name? Because there's going to be people out there who I think would definitely butcher it here in the States, and I don't want them to.
I haven't seen even so. I've been living in the States for almost, let's say, 2 years in accumulation, and not even one got my name correctly on first.
Wow,
um,
really?
it's a difficult one. I can understand. So my name is Atagun, Atagun. Sometimes I go with Ada, Ata. So yeah, Ada. Yes.
Atagun. How can people not pronounce that one? That one's simple as hell.
I don't
Wow.
know, man.
Yeah,
Something
maybe.
with
Yeah,
the T. Something with the
it's
T.
yeah, maybe. I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram or whatnot when we've been talking, but I do a lot of work with animals and such, like wildlife and domestic and animal crime stuff. And on top of that, dinosaur fan. So maybe I guess weird pronounced names are a thing that I can do. So at least it's not too bad boring.
Yeah, and you're also talking to international artists sometimes, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. Yeah, international artists as well. Yeah, France. We've had people on here from France, South America, Britain,
hmm
South Africa too, actually.
South Africa.
Yeah, shout
Wow.
out to Carl. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm from Turkey, and I guess I'm the first Turkish artist you interviewed so far.
Yeah, yeah. First Turkish artist, actually. You're not wrong.
We,
If
we
you ever,
only have three also, by the way. We have Mahmoud Asrar and Yildiray Çınar. Mahmoud working on the Batman story right
oh
now.
yeah,
Yeah, pu- pulling that flagship Batman storyline, and
yeah.
Yildiray Çınar is working on Joe Fixit.
Just two,
Um,
just two things there. There's people know the names of just a little bit, and then
yeah,
including you working on Poison Ivy, like just the little known characters.
yeah, these just simple stuff. I
Oh
guess.
man. Oh man. Well, is there so I'm kind of curious though, since you started it's really big, in the comic industry right now. Is there certain things out there that you have a dream project of?
My dream project is definitely working on taking the Batman serious.
Oh,
Just
doing Batman himself, doing the big B?
take my own spin on the Batman storyline.
Ooh.
I love drawing Catwoman, Selena Kyle, one of my favorites. Definitely, Poison Ivy grew bigger in me for sure. Joker, absolutely. These are the two characters, Batman and Joker. I know it's they've both been like used so much, but still, I want to just do my own spin. Um, but to be honest, I really want to work on Spider-Man series. That's
Really?
that's my childhood dream from the
I
beginning.
think that's because I think all of us, in a way, I think it's probably the age range of probably my age, like 26 to, this is when I find out you're like 20 years old and I'm really depressed in my life. But um, the like 26 all and above, I think a lot of people there are like want to tackle Spider-Man because the Spider-Man was our hero for like such a long time because we had all the cartoons, we had the movies, we had the second incarnation of movies, we had the books that were crazy, the old TV show, old cartoons. I think like there
Absolutely.
was so much Spider-Man, like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like that thing like we just want to work on a Spider-Man book. Like I think Spider-Man's a character that all of us who in the creative arts or anything tied to comics at least is want to be like, I want to do something Spider-Man because you do. You really do. It's that character that just hits with you.
Yeah, this is just I one of also the first comics I read was Spider-Man comics. I think John Romita was the artist, and Lee Weeks also one of the comics, Spider-Man comics that Lee Weeks illustrated. They was just so impressive. I mean, the character itself is also so impressive too. I've been hooked from very beginning, and that's one of my top goals. Yeah, for sure. And I also want to write my own comics as well.
Really? Okay.
I illustrate my own comics within DC universe, and mostly, I don't want to like take like do my spin on very popular characters, but also like it's just been on my mind's headspace for some time. Not I haven't like um worked seriously on it. It's just
Mhm.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, some niche characters. Some of the niche characters I wanted to bring in front. Bring more attention to them.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, for instance, like this Poison Ivy story, it started off like 10-page um, short in an anthology book, and then it became miniseries, and now it's an ongoing series only because of how G. Willow Wilson created Poison Ivy's background in such a like such a way that audience can connect to even a super villain because they find themselves within her. Yeah, that's really one of those introspecting to you while you're reading it. It's such a powerful tool in storytelling, and I learned so much from like reading Willow's script, and it's just influences me a lot to try writing, and let's see how it goes. Why not?
Yeah, why? That's the best way to go about it. Is why not? Being honest. You're an artist. You're halfway there. So if you can master writing as well, because us writers, we look at artists like yourself, like you guys are magicians. So because we don't know how the hell you do it. You take our words and you make it into artwork. It's crazy. But if you can do it, and you're an artist, a beautiful artist. So I could definitely say that you're on your way. And you tackle that. If you can master both of them and do your own series, writing and doing the artwork for it, the doors are open for you anywhere, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see how it goes. Let's schedule another meeting in 10 years. And
in 10 years.
In 10 years. And we'll catch up.
Boy, you know what? If it never happens, hopefully one day. I mean, hopefully I see it. I really do. And maybe you'll see me in the comic industry at some point too, not doing indie work. There's
Absolutely.
there's a goal, and it's to work in the comics version of this or work in some media type. I'd prefer comics. As I have 3 storylines. I got a storyline for Superman with a Parasite, one of the villains. And then I have a good Godzilla pitch, and then for a comic, and then a Transformers pitch.
Ooh.
And yeah, and Transformers comics are still hot right now. Like those books have been insane.
Yeah, these are hot items on the market for sure.
Yeah, so they're never gonna let me with the 10-foot radius of them. They're like, no.
Well,
this guy has a TV show, and these are multi-million-dollar movies. No.
Taking a step at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's hope. And be like, hey, come on, they're good ideas. I swear, they're new villains involved. It'd be great. Oh man,
it's the best way to get into stratosphere of characters and the stories like that is to first make stories similar, create characters similar to that, so they can like rely on your draftsmanship and everything, your talent. That's a one ticket to get into the building.
Then hopefully some of my series have been writing. These are books that are series that have been out there on the internet and shown, so I can talk about them. Like book involving mechs, so like giant mechanical suits and stuff like that. And then I have one about giant monsters in the Vietnam War, and then also one about superpowered police officers in Chicago. So, I think I might be on a good step. I hope.
It sounds like you already built your universe. This is your
true.
universe, but it's all around universe. I love it.
Yeah, there's more too. There's a Dino book. There's a lot, but yeah. So honestly, though, I'm kind of shocked. Is that do you have any Western ideas, by the way, too? Do you happen to have anything like that? Because it seems like you were a pretty big fan of that back in the day.
Western. I think I feel like I worked. So, to put my take, like my input, I'm more looking to my background and the experiences I had, and try to blend them all together in a like introspective way, within the characters I pick. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Haven't thought about really seriously on creating something Western spaghetti story. Not sure about that, but why not?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Why not? Indeed.
Yeah. If you ask me what genre don't really like, I can't say anything. Like if you give me any story, I would love to illustrate it. No matter what genre, what age range it is. It's a challenge for me. I love it.
Really?
But
Oh, you
yeah,
are a rare breed, man. You are a rare breed of person. Because that's usually people are like, I stay away from this, or oh, I'll never touch this with a 10-foot pole. Like, well, wait a minute here. Like, if you definitely are like, look at you keep going, you're being talented.
yeah, man. But I also know from like one, like for instance, I listened Sean Murphy's podcast, like interview, and he said like some artists shouldn't take specific genres, so just stick to their style. But like if your style is, could bend to different genres, why not? Just not try to overextend yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
overburden yourself with the stories that you're not passionate with. That's the
Mhm.
thing. I'm just passionate.
Yeah, that's if you're passionate and you want to create, I think is really what it is here. Like, if you're passionate about creating, then anything is possible. Like, you could work on a story about a kid who shrinks down. I mean, that's just Ant-Man, but I was gonna say like it shrinks down. It's like ant. There's, it could be anything like that to say the least there too. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, um, so I gotta do ASO because I was curious about it. And we're almost to the end here. Don't worry. I don't want to take too much more of your time. As
No, it's
you
all good.
say, you said you lived in the States, but you're in Turkey right now. Do you go back and forth?
Um, Not so much, but this was a kind of a occasion. Like there was extraordinary, unplanned, me being here. But I will go back to Turkey in August, and I'll go back to the United States in August, and I will finish my master's program there, and then we'll see what happens. I'm going to look for. So I'm also working as an assistant to famous established photography artist Carrie Mae Weems. So
What?
I'm
What?
yeah. Do you know her?
Yeah, you can just what? You can't just drop that and be like, I'm gonna drop this bomb right here. Microphone, I'm out.
Hey, you said we're almost at the end of it,
Oh
so
my god.
felt like the best moment.
Your talent just keeps going. I'm not trying to ink your chain. I'm being honest with you. Like I did not expect that.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can work on many genres, also different mediums. Jack of all trades, but not
Yeah.
master of
I thought I was, but damn, you're giving me a run for the money.
none. Yeah, so the plan
Oh,
is after I graduate, I might continue working with her and keep living in the States because she lives in Syracuse, so it's very close to New York,
mhm.
which is very close to New York Comic Con. Lots of opportunities there.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh, yeah.
the plan. So I'll only be here for like 6 months only. Then I'll go back to
Okay.
grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
doing the grind, doing the grind. Okay, all right. I was just curious about it because I've known there's some people, friends of mine too, who are working in different fields and they're just traveling the globe like crazy right now. So I was just kind of curious if that was you as well.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. You're all over the place too. I mean, that's kind of how. Really quickly, I just want to ask, how is Turkey? Because I've never talked to anybody from Turkey before or anything like that, so I never really get an understanding like what it's like over there. Like how are things?
Things are kind of up and down a little bit. It's such a country that is trying, but
Hmm.
not really actually succeeding. We sounds like United States, but believe me, it's worse than States.
Really?
We Yeah,
Oh, hot
yeah. when I
take. Shit,
talk
hot
about,
take.
yeah, when I talk about like explain such things about Turkey, like my American friends always tell me, well, we're not any better. We're kind of the same, but yeah, we're kind of not the same actually, like states. Like earthquake just hit Turkey's eastern side,
Yeah, yeah.
devastating earthquake, but it's just we have this kind of a corrupt government right now. We're trying to get rid of it in the upcoming elections. but we're more so trying to stay on to Western ideas, democracy,
Mhm.
and human rights, stuff like that. But we also have tendencies for tyranny and
Wow.
dictators. So there's always like a really close, when we vote, of choosing either democracy or one man ruling over the country.
Oh
It's
shit.
really, yeah, it's difficult.
Shit, fuck. Like you never hear about it here. You never hear about things like that are going on in Turkey. Like, of course, the earthquakes, of course, and
Yeah,
hopefully you didn't know anybody that was lost or anything like that.
no,
Um,
no,
okay,
no.
good. Uh, but you never hear about like the political stuff going on there. You guys trying to fight for something, and nothing. You never really hear about that. And I keep my head to the news a lot. Because
Mhm.
global and domestic, and I try to make sure I'm following what's going on. I'm one of the few people my age who does that, and just trying to make sure I can see what's going on. But I've never heard anything like that going on. I mean, I wish you guys the best of luck. So hopefully this year's the year where things change, and then we hear positivity going on.
Absolutely, man. I wish. Let's see. Like, there's just 2.5 months left for the upcoming election, and
Mhm.
I hope things will work out on our end. We'll
So,
see.
so summertime, we're looking at maybe summertime, maybe late spring.
Yeah, early
Okay.
summer, late spring, around that
Okay.
time.
Good. I'm hoping for the best for you. I really am. Like, it's a lot of things like that. People never really know what's going on, and you're dealing with literally like country changing things, and you're still being like, let's do some poison ivy work. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, like my situation is it's different than regular citizens in Turkey, because we don't have, um, our passport is not so respectful for
Oh.
other countries. For instance, we require visa access, so we apply visa for Western countries,
Mhm.
most of the countries actually around the globe. But for my case, I can travel, and I am kind of a digital nomad. I live in States, work there, come to Turkey, work here, and I lived in Poland also. Just took my fair share of traveling around, mostly in Europe and United States.
Mhm.
So I really consider myself lucky in that regard. I don't feel stuck, so I can dash out. You
Yeah,
know,
you just get
see
out of
all of
Dodge if you need to.
yeah.
Girl, that's good. At least you have that too. At least you do have that, and you can be, and like right now, you're being a voice to it because I would bet you cash money going on here right now that a lot of people did not know about the things going on in your country, or they had no idea. So like you're being a voice about it here a little bit. You're being a voice on creative and your home. So it's pretty admirable actually.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's definitely a potential in future.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then you can do a really good political drama comic. I believe in you.
Oh, talk about one genres I don't like. I don't like politics in comics.
We can
That's
agree with that. I agree with you so hard on that.
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's two things where you're just like, no. We need to keep positivity and fun.
Yeah, let's keep that out of the door. We don't need
Yeah,
that.
right. There was only one political. It was not. I don't even know if it's a political book. It was oh, I think it was called We Stand Guard. Did
Hmm.
you know about that one?
No.
It's so what would happen, like, and there's giant mechs involved, like the giant robots involved, and like kind of
Mm.
sci-fi type of warfare a little bit. But it was like what would happen if the US and Canada went to war?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was actually kind of cool because then they got really kind of sci-fi with it in a way because like it's been 10 years and you're like, oh god, and there's been like one nuke that went off and now they have robots fighting and now we like the borders are just crazy. So there's a little bit of political stuff with that and that the DC book Prez. Did you ever hear about that one?
Prez, no.
Yeah, it was like what would happen if like things politically got really messed up in like 20 years. Shocker in America and there was like social media became a way of being elected president. So then
Yeah.
this like 18-year-old girl just gets elected as president
Oh,
who has
wow.
no idea about anything politics. Yeah, she's like no idea. I was a
What the
social
fuck?
media person. Yeah, it was an old book in the beginning. It was a book in 90s, 2000s, I think, and then they did it in a new 52. Excuse me, they brought it back. It lasted a long time.
Oh, wow. Didn't
Yeah,
know that. Wow, good to know.
yeah, they're fun. It was fun. It was funny. They just poke fun at everything. So
Yeah.
those are the only two political things in comics I'll take. But I kind of want to read We Stand Guard again, actually. But well, thank you, my good man, for coming on the podcast. I know it's later over there, so this is going to be the moments where I'm going to transfer to you and go ahead and plug away. Social media where people can find you, upcoming books people can buy, all that fun stuff.
All right, sweet. So my social media instances are my name, Atagun, Ilhan, Ilhan, but I'm pretty sure if you just type my name, I will pop up. And my books are coming. Let's see. So I drew 10-page short story in upcoming DC's Legend of Bloom, coming I think this week, next week latest. I did Titan's West story in it, and then Milestone's 30-year anniversary book also coming up this following week. I was the main artist on the main story in that 90-page anthology book. And then I'm right now currently working on this Poison Ivy horror story that will come out in summer, 2 parts. So that is that. So far, my plate is pretty full with coffee,
Yeah,
but that's
and
the dream.
yeah, that is a dream, and there's also probably some things in there you can't talk about because as we're talking about that before, there's always something you can never talk about until like 6 months from now.
Yep, you know how it goes, Dakota. You
Oh
feel me?
yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, thanks
Recently.
for having me, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, this was a blast and a half.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first and the best so far, but will be so far also, because it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna be like, this is the best one I've been on. You're gonna be on like this AAA podcast after this, and it's gonna, like this super like a Chris Hardwick or like Kevin Smith will talk to you or something, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is the best one. Fuck Dakota.
Oh man.
Oh boy. All righty, good man. Well, I'll let you go. You enjoy the rest of your night, okay? You're welcome back anytime on the podcast.
Sweet, man. Thank you for having me. All right, I'll talk to you later then.
Talk to you later. I'll let you know when the show comes out too.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you, boss. Bye.